Yo, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? Today I'm going to be going over a settings tutorial because a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but someone in my comments asked for a settings tutorial, and I'm kind of going to go through it and explain everything and why I have it as such. And I'll also list my PC parts down below because it's also based off of like what PC you have and everything good. Because my PC is kind of mediocre and I'm getting upgrades this year, so my FPS will be a lot better in the future. But I'll go through everything. Alright, so we're gonna go to gameplay section. My field of view is always maxed out, you know. I have a bind that I will show you guys later in the video where you can press a keybind and it'll just zoom in automatically for you. Head bob off, hit markers off, that's preference based. I personally don't like seeing the hit markers show up on my screen. Game tips, that's for noobs, people who just started the game, you know. I'm not a noob, I'm a pro. Hurt punch, it toggles the camera when you're taking damage so it just shakes. And pretty much the rest of this stuff is just preference based, like building, nudity. I would turn show blood off, and then make sure you turn your max. I have my max gibbs all the way down. I don't really remember how max gibbs works, is if it's all the way up where you don't see stuff or all the way down. I turn my upgrade effects off, and then RGB lighting is just a random one. You can do whatever you want with that. My audio, pretty simple. I play 0.3, 1.0 game sound, voice volume all the way up, and then UI, which is sound effects all the way up. And then everything else is pretty much down. I don't really use instruments or voice props and shit like that. For my screen, I play 1720 by 1080 and I play full screen. And I max my frame rate at 144 because my monitor is 144 Hz. And then VSync and everything else should be turned off. So there's no screen tearing or, you're not being capped at a certain amount. And then for graphics, I keep my render scale around 0.9 actually because I'm bottlenecking a little bit on my GPU, and that's what I'm currently waiting on the upgrade. So I keep that around there. Your game might look a bit more pixelated, but it honestly helps a lot. My shader level all the way down. I don't have an NVIDIA graphics card, so none of this applies to me. So pixel count, 0, 0. Everything pretty much off. I put my draw distance, it varies depending on the situation. I usually keep it at 1524, which, as you can see, I can still see pretty far. Like, there's an airplane all the way over there across the map, but um, all my water stuff is off. Grass displacement is on. Um, I don't really know what this is. My texture quality and everything else all the way down. Shadows all the way down. And again, for your texture quality, this is all dependent on your PC and how you like to see your game. If you put it higher, it's obviously going to look better. The lower, it's going to look worse. But you're going to get more FPS. Shadow resolution low, shadow mask. I don't have it on distance, I just have it on shadows. And then 2 cascade, which is the lowest. And then I turn my everything down besides low LOD bias and my tree quality. I put my tree quality to 117 because if the trees look like shit, it's kind of hard to see people. Um, I kind of like them to render in a little bit. For my image effects, I have everything off. User interface, obviously I'm English. I put my UI scale to about 60. And then, of course, you want your HUD on, and then FPS counter is basic. If you want to see your ping, if you want to see all the advanced metrics, then you can change that to this. But keep chat on, everything else off. I have a custom crosshair built into my monitor, so I don't use any of this new shit. I play point 0.4 sensitivity. Vehicle sensitivity says at 1.0, and then I also play on 750 to 800 DPI. Oops, I'm getting attacked by wolves. Alright. And then everything else is not important. For my keybinds, not important either. It's just I use caps lock to crouch, auto walk, all that other BS. Accessibility, this is also completely dependent on your preference, like I said. I like to make my trees red just to see better at night. Gestures, whatever gestures you gotta put them in there. Start hitting those emotes. And then experimental, I do everything off besides GC buffer. I turn that all the way up because then it takes all the higher value memory and then it will reduce the frequency of GC, which is bad because the more GC you have, the more or the less FPS you're gonna get. So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys what my game looks like real quick so you can just get an understanding, and then I'm gonna hop on UKN and go into FFA walls and show you guys how I shit on kids. So this is what my game looks like. I also have a color filter on too. I don't know if you guys can see, but my game looks pretty good. I'm also on Rusty Moose US Small, which is a high pop monthly server, so my FPS is not going to be the best. I just want to show you guys like what I get on monthlies. But yeah, watch this transition in 3, 2, 1, boom.